Hi, I'm Bran, and I love Christmas movies that came out after the year 1992, and I'm sticking to it, darn it.
I'm Alonso, and let's just say 1947 was 75 years ago, and this.
It's the Deck the Hallmark Podcast.
Deck the Hallmark is this podcast.
Wow, what an intro you just did there, Alonso. Just hitting us with the facts. What were you gonna say?
No. It literally at just this moment occurred to me that this year marks the 75th anniversary of so many great films. Last 2021 was the 75th anniversary of It's a Wonderful Life. And this year now we're looking at the anniversary of It Happened on Fifth Avenue and some other films.
It's also the 75th anniversary of the NBA.
So well done.
Sames.
USA.
Happy March, Alonso.
Yes, we're 1 month closer to Christmas.
Spring is here, I suppose.
I hope.
Until it's not. This is what always happens, especially in the South. I don't know if you can remember back in your Atlanta, your Georgia days, but you get winter and then you get like a couple of weeks of warm weather and everybody's like, I'm putting my cold clothes away. Look at my arms. And then it gets cold again for like a week and everyone gets sad. But I love the cold. So I'm personally not ready for spring and especially summer. I get a little sad even thinking about summer. But
my favorite memory of that temperature shift, I went to college in Tennessee. And Parents' Weekend happened around this time of year, and there were some sorority girls who I guess had like sent all of their winter woolens home with mom and dad, and were just ready to be all springy. And then the temperature drops again, and you would see them on campus wearing like every article of clothing they owned at the same time, basically, like all of their little light, summer sweaters or whatever, like 10 of them because they had gotten rid of their parkas.
Listen, no matter how many layers you put on, your arms are still cold.
Yeah.
If you don't have any long sleeves, you're going to be cold. I'm not ready for it. What is it like in LA? Are there temperature swings this time of year as well?
Yeah. I mean, like, I'll tell you, there were mornings in February where I'd get out of bed and it'd be in the 30s.
What?
So yeah.
I didn't know that was possible.
Oh sure, by midday it's in like the 50s. But yeah, like right, like the nights are pretty cool / cold in the mornings as well. But then it'll be 80 degrees for 2 days and then it'll go back to 50. So it's the same kind of craziness, but just not as extreme.
It's really tough on the allergies. It's really just tough on those swings. Man, I'm happy. I'm so happy that we're getting those like mail home, like those tests in the mail, the COVID tests. Every time the temperature swings, I'm like, oh man, I got it. I'm good. That's what always happens. I always get like
just allergic to everything.
Yeah, I always like get a little tickle in the throat when it gets cold again. And I'm like, it finally happened. And then, I know. That's just weather.
It used to just be, allergies or flu, and now it's allergies, flu, or the other thing.
Those we don't speak of. Yeah, that's exactly right. Still fighting a good fight. Let's go. All right, it's March, but we're still doing this. We are what is it? I think this is going to be a week 8 or week 9 or something like that. So we're still chugging along in 25 weeks. And we'll be doing this every week until Christmas in July kicks off in July. Alonso, it's your week.
Yes.
And I got to be honest, man, after last week, I need a goodie, like a real goodie. I know you've brought all goodies, but I need like a goodie.
I think you're going to dig this one because it is for one thing. It is unlike It Happened on Fifth Avenue. This is entirely the Christmas season. We're not shilly-shallying around with winter or New Year's. No. This is Christmas.
I do feel like so far the movies that you've brought have all been like there are 1, 2, 3 scenes that have real good Christmas, but we haven't gotten that like real humdinger.
Okay. Well, I think this one might do it for you. Now,
All
this
right.
is one I know you've not seen it, but you might have seen the remake. The remake starred Denzel Washington and Whitney Houston and Courtney B. Vance, but this is the original The Bishop's Wife from 1947, starring.
Did it change it to The Preacher's Wife?
The Preacher's Wife is the remake, yeah. But
Gotcha.
the original
Okay.
is called The Bishop's Wife.
Got it.
It's Cary Grant, it's David Niven, it's Loretta Young, it's Monty Woolley, it's Gladys Cooper. We'll get into her later. But anyway, this is a lot of fun and really charming. Cary Grant plays a guardian angel, and he is there to help David Niven, who's the bishop, and his wife, Loretta Young, sort of re-embrace the meaning of the season. The bishop has been obsessed with fundraising. He's trying to build a big cathedral, and it has taken him away from other things that should be more important to him. And Cary Grant is there to bring some magic to everybody's life. And, you know, who nobody does that like Cary Grant, except maybe Denzel Washington.
Can I bring something to the table?
Shoot.
I've never seen The Preacher's Wife.
Oh, okay. Well,
It's always been on the list. I love Denzel. It's one of my favorite actors.
Sure.
What if we did a back-to-back boy? This week, Bishop, you got to be careful with that word. The Bishop's Wife. Next week, Preacher's Wife.
I like.
Is that legal? Are we allowed to do that?
I think we can. I haven't seen Preacher's Wife in quite a while, so that would be great. But yeah, so Bishop's Wife, it is streaming. It's on Amazon Prime. It's on Roku Channel. It's on Pluto TV and Tubi, and my personal favorite, Canopy, which if you have a library card, you have a very good chance that you get free access to Canopy, Kanopy. They've got an amazing library of movies, including The Bishop's Wife.
And those ones are they're the commercial free with the Canopy.
Yes,
Pluto
and
and
no ads.
Tubi and whatnot.
Pluto and Tubi, you get ads, and Roku too.
And Roku, yeah. But if you go on the Roku app, you can easily find Christmas in Carolina. So like that process makes it, I think, worth it. You might stumble your way into the masterpiece that is Christmas in Carolina.
Never forget.
I know you weren't able to make last year's Bramble Fest, but the plan is this year to do a Christmas in Carolina watch along at Bramble Fest, where we throw spoons at the screen and whatnot.
I'm in. Count me.
We all wear our hearts sweatshirts.
Oh yeah, with the thing and the thing. Yes.
Did I tell you somebody sent us a link of like where we can buy them? It's for some like nonprofit or something that one of the people in the movie like founded or something. Gotcha. I don't know what it's all about, but you can buy it online if you really want to.
Yeah. By the time you're done watching that movie, you're thinking, oh, I gotta get me one. I'm seeing 20 of them.
I don't want to be out of style.
Exactly.
I'm still looking for the perfect head to toe red suit, but with a turtleneck.
I believe in you.
That Bramble Fest, I had a red suit for the Deckies this year, but I couldn't find the turtleneck to go along with the wardrobe. So
hang on to those swatches. I'm sure you'll find something.
Dare to dream. All right, we're gonna take a break. We're gonna do The Bishop's Wife, and then I guess we already know next week Preacher's Wife. Very excited about this back to back. All right, let's take a quick break. And we'll be right back here on Deck the Hallmark. We're back. Same place as we always are. Isn't that right, Alonso?
It's, why even blink?
I'm saying, let's dive
Same
into
haircuts,
this.
Everything.
That's right. You guys didn't get a haircut in the break? Like
you had seconds. Come on.
I thought that's what we were all doing. All right. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
I'm excited because we're doing this, and then next week I'm glad that we decided that because I feel like it's going to be a lot of fun to compare. But let's talk Bishop's Wife.
Bishop's Wife, yes.
Alonso, do you want to do a little synopsis for us?
I would love to. The Bishop's Wife, I don't have a date, opened in 1947.
It happened, trust us.
Yes, and it went a little something like this. Bishop Henry Brougham has become distracted from both his inner city parish and his wife Julia because of his efforts to erect a huge cathedral. He asks heaven for guidance and he gets Dudley, a charming angel who arrives to help. But Dudley's agenda has nothing to do with building the cathedral. He's there to remind Henry about what's really important in his life. And he does so by spending a lot of time with Julia, taking her to the restaurant where she and Henry used to go, working with the boys' choir at Henry's old church, taking her ice skating, dazzling the crabby old millionaire who's making Henry's life difficult. Can Dudley get the Browns' life in order by Christmas? Will they even remember that he was there? You're going to find out when you see The Bishop's Wife. I still don't quite have your, you're the king of this.
I don't know about that, but I'll take it, pal. Let's break it down, shall we? Let's share what we thought about the movie. You've seen it, obviously, so tell us what you thought of it again, and why this was a recommendation that you made.
I just think this is one of the great ones. This is one of Cary Grant's best roles, and this is the kind of thing he does well. Like, he just oozes charm, oozes like just sort of, you can see how this is a guy who can talk people into anything. I have to say, I really enjoyed watching it this time after being subjected to 2-3 Angel Falls movies on Hallmark. Where they unpack this gimmick of the angel showing up to help people, because the movie goes out of its way to reiterate over and over again that angels don't do stuff. They just plant ideas in people's heads, and then the people do them. And over and over again, you kind of see where, like, oh, okay, so he's just kind of finagling his way in, telling these people things they need to hear, reminding them things they've forgotten about. And then ultimately, they're not even going to remember he was there. They're not even going to know what made them think or do these things, but just that it happened. And they'll just assume that, of course, they did it themselves. So yeah, I think that all of that's really lovely. I love all the scenes with Monty Woolley as the history professor. Loretta Young is really great in this. She's somebody who I'm not always a big fan of. David Niven is great. He's just like constantly exasperated by like, no, you're supposed to be helping me do X, Y, Z. And he's like, no, I'm going to help you do, D, E, and F instead. And he's got to figure out like why that's a good thing or why that's going to wind up being the best thing for everybody. I just think it's a really sweet movie. I mean, for me, the moment where Cary Grant magically decorates a Christmas tree is just like, greatest of all time.
1940s. Go ahead.
No. How did it hit you for your first viewing?
Well, I just want to say this. First of all, 1947 was a big year for angels at Christmas, apparently.
Yes.
So big year. Alonso, I don't want you to be mad at me.
I could never.
I don't know. It was kind of a snoozer for me.
Really?
I know. I'm as surprised as you are. Now, I will say this. There's some delightful scenes in this movie. But as a whole, I don't know. I can't really put it in the words, and I probably should because I'm a podcaster. But it just, I don't know. I kept wanting, I don't know what it was that I wanted more of. Maybe it's Denzel. Maybe I know that. Maybe I know Denzel's coming, But listen, that decorating the Christmas tree scene is just that. I could watch all day long. Ice skating, could watch that all day long. I don't know. It it sounds like the scenes that I liked, I really liked. But as a whole, I just felt a little snoozy about it. And maybe it was the time of day in which I watched it. I watched it in the afternoon, in the middle of the week. So I don't know. Maybe that has something to do with it. But yeah, I've liked most of the other ones more than this one.
Okay.
But again, the scenes that work for me, the scenes that give me Christmas feels and like happy feels, they really work. So I understand like the charisma is like, what's not to like about the guy? So there's a lot to like about the movie, but for me, I wish that there was more of it, I guess.
Okay, I mean that's fair. I look for me, and we've talked about this before. Like it's the external trappings of Christmas are one thing, and they're great, and they're lovely to watch, and they give me feels. But for me, what I really love in a Christmas movie is people finding their best selves,
Yeah.
and when you see somebody who is ordinarily selfish or greedy or mean or whatever, and like there's something about the Christmas spirit that infuses them and that lets them tap into the parts of themselves that they don't acknowledge as much. That's something that I love watching. And so like I love how David Niven comes around to realizing, you know what, this cathedral is nonsense. It's like a big waste of money, and it would be much better spent among my parish, among the community here. I love. I mean, I love the old lady. Gladys Cooper made a whole career of playing like just monstrous old women who were like just going to cut you off and like ramrod through you if they could. And I love how she gets to tap into like her sort of loving side and acknowledges like, yeah, I want to build this cathedral to cover up with the fact that I never loved my super rich husband. And so maybe that's not a good idea. And maybe I'm not going to do that now. So I don't know. I like all of that stuff. And I like how this movie does it. Like it creates a framework in which I believed that this angel could come in, change all these people's lives, leave, and have nobody remember it happen. But that they would just feel like that was a conclusion they all came to on their own. And that's a tricky thing to write. And I think this movie does it really well. And all of that stuff gives me the Christmas stuff on top of all the scarves and all the snowball fights and all the ice skating and everything else.
Two things. One, I love that you're the one out of the two of us that's very high on the Angel movie. Like, that's his favorite. But two, the good thing is now in 2022, like churches never build big buildings. Like they're always just giving money to the poor. So we don't really need this lesson.
Absolutely.
We don't need this lesson.
Yeah. Go to Texas. You're not going to see a single gigantic church
exactly
anywhere.
Right.
No. Never.
That's exactly right. Let's talk Christmas feels. I feel like we've kind of skirted around it, but let's give a number to it, a hard, fast number. Alonso, what Christmas feels are you giving it?
I think I'm pretty high. Like I'm thinking like a 7.5, just because I think this movie is set entirely during the Christmas season. Everybody, all the activities and things that are happening, whether it's shopping, whether it is that amazing scene with the boys choir, like it all seems to be leading up to getting ready for talking about Christmas, haggling for the tree and all that stuff. I don't know. I just feel like Christmas is present in every scene, whether it's physical manifestation or just somehow the preparation for it.
What number are you giving it?
I said 7.5.
Oh, 7.5. I'm going higher than you. I'm going 8.5. I'm going 8.5.
I thought your beef wasn't Christmassy enough.
No, it's not that. It was all that it had for me was the Christmas. The rest of it felt slow. So the Christmas stuff is great. It's like an 8.5. Like that, the ice skating scene was a delight with the cab driver. I can't remember his name right now, but when he's just going around, that's a lot of fun. And then that scene with the Christmas tree is so good, and it made me just wish that tinsel was still a thing. It's just
right. We were trying to get it off of YouTube for a while, or not YouTube, of eBay for a while, and we got a few like things of like the old school, the heavy lead kind. It's great that it hangs so much better than the new kind. Yes, it'll kill your cat, but you have to sort of make these decisions in your life. I love old movie Christmas trees because they're like spindly and going out in a million directions. Like when we can buy a tree where there's like a big gap from like levels of branches so you can really see the ornaments, we do. And people will be like, oh, is it a Charlie Brown tree? It's like, no, it's like an old school Christmas tree. This is what they used to look like before they like were bred at these farms to like be all fluffy and conical and all the things they are now. And those are fine too. I mean, whatever your kind of tree is great, but I like a choice. And my personal druthers is the kind that you see in this movie.
I wish you were a little more passionate about Christmas trees, Alonso. It's not coming across enough. It's not
like I give it much thought or anything. So,
no. All right. So if you are wanting to watch something like this, aside from Angel Falls, which I mean, clearly, you have to admit, though, Alonso.
I know, Freeze Boy.
The Freeze Boy is great cinema.
Well, I think these movies are always a product of what the technology is. But for 1947, the whole thing with the letters floating around and the snowball and the
Can we get
tree,
into
like
that
there's a
real
lot of
quick? Do you know how they did that in 1947?
which one?
Like, or the letters or the tree? Like, do you know how those
Um,
were shot?
I imagine that it's probably like kind of a split screen thing where on one side you just have Cary Grant doing his thing, and then the other side it's just stop motion. And they
Yeah.
just they keep manually adding things to the tree and then and then just edit it together so it looks like one smooth motion.
I totally forgot about those. See, those are great bits. That's fun.
And this movie had a crazy production history where like originally Cary Grant was playing the bishop and David Niven was the angel, and then Teresa Wright was playing the wife, and then they shut down production, brought in a new director, they switched them all around. It was the whole thing. And also, by the way, you will recognize the young Carolyn Grimes, who plays the daughter of the bishop and his wife, who a year previous was Zuzu Bailey in It's a Wonderful Life. And actually, check out on Christmas Clatter. We interviewed Carolyn Grimes, and she had stories about making Bishop's Wife and about It's a Wonderful Life and a bunch of other stuff from her career. So check that out if you.
I didn't pick up on Zuzu, but I felt like there was
the kid who
plays George Bailey.
Yes, in the snowball fight. That is well done, Brad.
Thank you.
That is young George Bailey.
Man, how about that?
So also a year later. But yeah, so if you're looking for other movies like this, I would say, obviously It's a Wonderful Life. You've got two cast members carrying over. A Christmas movie that I'm not the most giant fan of, but that a lot of people really love, and it's part of their kind of annual rotation, stars Monty Woolley, who plays the history professor here, and it's called The Man Who Came to Dinner. And Woolley plays this sort of like obnoxious intellectual radio personality named Sheridan Whiteside, and he's on a speaking tour, and he's like somewhere in the Midwest, and he slips and falls and breaks his ankle and has to stay at this like Midwest family's house until he heals, and of course like takes over the entire household and drives everyone crazy and has like a million demands, and it's all around Christmas. And it's pretty funny. If you like Monty Woolley in this and you want more of him, it's one of the few times he gets to be like the lead role.
There you go. A non-Christmas movie that I just think should be in everybody's rotation is Angel in the Outfield. So just go watch that for more Angels fun.
Hey, did you know that's a remake?
I didn't know that. No, of course I did.
The one that came out in the 90s. It's actually a remake of like I want to say a 50s movie.
It can't be better than the one in the 90s. I'll tell you that much. That is.
You don't know that.
Yeah, but did it come out when I was 5?
Good point. You're right.
No, it did not.
I got nothing.
All right. So that's it for this week. But I'm excited because we already know next week we are doing The Preacher's Wife.
Correct.
Which you haven't seen?
I saw it once, and I thought it was okay, but it didn't really register with me. So I'm very excited to take a look at it again. Just because we had such a brief window of a movie career with Whitney Houston. It was basically The Bodyguard and this, like that, not counting like TV stuff. So I'm excited to take a look at it again, especially freshly off of reviewing of Bishop's Wife.
Do you remember how Christmassy it is?
Oh, it's pretty dang Christmassy, as I recall. I remember everybody's always wearing winter coats, so I think they've stuck to that angle of the story.
Denzel's the angel.
Denzel's the angel. The preacher is Courtney B. Vance, and Whitney Houston is the titular preacher's wife.
So it's a lot of Denzel and Whitney Houston.
Yes, and that's not a bad thing.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I can't wait for it. I think of all the movies we've done, what does it say about me that the movie I haven't seen that I'm most excited about is the one that's in color? I can't wait for next week.
Ooh, I can relate to this. But I think we'll have a great discussion about it, and we'll actually get to do one episode in an entire sitting. So there's that to look forward to as well.
Can't wait for it. And until then, may we be the first to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Deck the Hallmarks of Bramble Jam podcast. It's presented by Philo TV. It's produced by Brandon Gray and recorded live in, Greenville, South Carolina. Set decor is by Plum at Haywood Mall. For more information on Deck the Hallmark, you can go to deckthehallmark.com. For more information on Bramble Jam Podcast Network, you can go to bramblejampodcast.com.